My name is Rye Hemlock. I've been working at your bank since I was 17 years old. I'm now 24. Why do I still work here? I don't know. I ask myself that every day. Because like I said, you're not allowed to bank with us anymore, so up yours.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cassandra Hurley. I'm your host, and this is Talk to Me. Today, we have a very special guest, Connor Dunwoodie. I'm pronouncing that right?
You got it.
And he has created the series, the call center series on TikTok with over 1 million hits, 1 million subscribers. You also got into YouTube as well. So now everybody kind of knows you, though, not really as Connor, but more so Rye the guy, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how did you, I know we kind of had some talks before or whatever and how you got into it. I kind of want to give everybody kind of just explain, for one, how you got started in this in the first place and what was some of your, what made you actually want to get into this?
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to start the series because I felt that there wasn't anything similar to this on TikTok. You've seen like stuff like The Office and Abbott Elementary, those types of mockumentary styles, with like workplace comedy. So I wanted to bring that to TikTok, and since then it's just been taking off.
So, and you were explaining before you started this, right? You happened to work at Starbucks? Did you have a
Yes,
certain like
Starbucks.
incident or something that happened that made you kind of like trigger into like, I want to start a whole series on this and say those things that most people really wouldn't want to say?
Yeah, so after working there for about 5 years, I went from being a barista to a shift supervisor to an assistant store manager, and then worked my way all the way up to a store manager, running my own multi-million dollar Starbucks store. So that was a crazy development journey. So I got to see a bunch of like crazy stuff, especially as a barista and a shift supervisor. I like being in the front lines, working alongside of other partners and the customers. Oh, geez. Those customers, some of them are very aggressive because they have not gotten their morning fix yet of coffee. So they're a little aggressive. Most of my interactions were very good, but there were a few that like just, I don't know, triggered me. One of them I remember to this day. I was a senior in high school and I was working a night shift, and this one customer came to the drive-through, and I noticed that my tip jar on the window looked a little empty after I had been like earning a bunch of tips
Shut
all during my
up.
shift. So I called them out. I was like, "Hey, did you take my tips out of the tip jar? Because this is not what it looked like. This is not it." So they started getting like aggressive with me, like confrontational, and I was
They
trying to keep it
literally stole
chill,
the
not
money
like
out of the
really
tip jar?
getting too crazy. Yeah, but it gets worse. After that, towards the end of our interaction, I handed them their drink and I asked them if they needed anything else, and they said no, but you can take this back. And they took their drink and chunked it at me through the Starbucks
No.
drive-through window, and it was like all over me, all over the floor. It was a venti, to this day, I remember it, a venti strawberry acai refresher with lemonade. So it was like so heated in the moment that like my adrenaline kicked in and fight or flight kicked in, that I picked the drink cup back up and chunked it back at them through the window and slammed that thing shut and locked it. And they got out of the car and started banging on the window. It's
Shut
something you
the
see like
fuck
on World Star or
up.
something, but like nothing was recorded. It's just like a memory that's gonna be in my mind forever.
So did
Trauma.
that right there, because like I would have lost my shit, honestly. If first of all you already stole my tips for one, and then you're gonna have the nerve to do all of that and throw it at
Hmm.
me, I would have went off. And this is why I tell you too, I have so much respect for you and how you even got started with the customer service. Because, like I said, a couple of my best friends do that on the daily, every day. And I'm really not sure how they still have jobs, to be completely honest with you. But you have to have so much patience. But so, was that one of the things? Like, what was your first recollection when you were like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to start this call center series? Was it like shortly after that, or did you
So
just wake up one day, or what?
so that was a while ago. So that was back in 2017, 2018. So after that, yeah, so after one of my shifts, this was in 2020, I had a chaotic shift and I was just frustrated. So I was watching TikTok and I was looking like for relatable videos from like customer service and I found some videos, but I was like, I want to try this out myself. So that like gave me the inspiration to like step outside of my comfort zone because I'm not the one to be on camera. I'm usually like behind the scenes. So like
Really?
I wish I had this napkin to this day, but I threw it out. I don't know why. But on a napkin, I wrote out the outline of like what I want to do in the series idea. And I gave myself some goals to like hit 1 million followers. And I was like, I'm going to do it. So I pulled out my iPhone. I sat at my work desk at home and was wearing a IKEA uniform that I bought on eBay and wanted to like use a little headset, which is actually that one right there. I keep it on the set. It's the old one and I just started going for it and tried instead of being myself, I wanted to like play a different character like other people were doing. So I came up with the name Rye. I used the name generator and just started making those videos on a daily basis after work. And then over time, just started really adding more quality into it and developing the character. And that's what's been like, that's what stuck with me and wanted to put it in full motion and production.
Well, personally, I'm very happy that you did, because I want to say I found you back in like 2020. And I remember when I first came across your page on TikTok, I was like really fucking depressed. I was just like, whatever, just, scrolling on my phone, whatever. And then I remember that you popped up. And I want to say it was like Fells. Didn't you have, instead of Wells Fargo, it was like Fells or something like that? I remember through the years.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is, if I worked in customer service, I would be Rye. Like, I promise you, I would be Rye. So I thought it was fucking hilarious. And I just,
Yeah.
honestly, the people that you've probably helped through the years is astronomical. And especially when it comes to mental health and depression, like, do you have like certain challenges that you've ever like went through, or depression or anything that almost made you want to stop doing this at all? Like, did you have any certain things where you're just like, almost doubting yourself, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there are times where I have like a hard time like kind of separating a work-life balance because I treat this as a job, as a full-time job. Um, so for I think maybe my senior year of high school, I started like feeling a little off. So I talked to like a psychiatrist and got diagnosed with bipolar,
Oh, we love that. Me too.
ADHD, anxiety. So I was like, I'm gonna focus on myself, and I've been able to like, work on it, and I'm in a much better place now. But that can get in the way sometimes when it comes to like keeping the series going because me being the only one, doing the entire production can be challenging and also just like mentally and physically draining. And when I'm not seeing the results that I want to see, that can also like send me down like a spiral, like rabbit
Yeah.
hole of like self-doubt and not thinking that the series is good enough or that I'm not putting in like 100%. So, yeah.
So, what do you tell yourselves in those moments when you have that to keep you going?
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
Like, so what do you do when you have those moments where you're kind of like self doubting, but you have it? And first of all, your set looks fucking amazeballs too. Everything is so beautiful. But like when you get in that state of mind and you're like, oh, well, I don't know about this, or oh, I doubt myself, what do you tell yourself, or what do you do to put you back on the mentality to where you can take your pain and flip it into purpose?
So I trying to like re-ground myself and just like get myself in like into a motivational like mindset and just keep moving forward and trucking on. I think about the impact that the series has like on other viewers and people, and these videos can like relate to everybody, no matter what industry that you're in or job. So seeing um, the return on impacting other people, that makes me happy. So I know that I'm helping other people. So that in return just makes me want to like keep going and giving me the motivation.
Literally. There was something that I saw the other day that you had posted, and I know you've talked about this before, but some of the Karens who actually think that Rye the Guy is real and like I'm sure this isn't the first time this has happened. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I thought that was funny as fuck, like funny as fuck. But people who still don't get the concept that this is an actual like series and you're an actor, you know, this is what you
Yeah.
do. Have you ever saw people like just day to day, let's just say you're going out somewhere, has anybody ever recognized you before? Certain things like that yet?
Yeah, that happens here and there, but like I travel a lot, but I never run into people outside of like my city here in Houston. There, um, there was a time when I went out on Halloween and I dressed up as Rye, like full outfit, uniform, like everything down to like the name tag, and was just going around with my friends to a couple of bars and hanging out. And at least within like an hour, there was a dozen people that recognized me and was like,
I
"Oh my
love
God,
that.
you're that guy! Like you play Rye, like the call center series at your bank, all this and that." And they like took pictures with me,
Ah,
and I thought that was so funny. Also, just a little like I don't know. It just felt weird because I wasn't used to that. So I was like, "Oh, hi," but like I was asking like their names, like what they do, like thank you, like for watching. But there is another aspect to that that I started thinking about recently is yes, you can have good interactions with like your viewers, but there's another side where when it relates back to people like thinking that this is real and like that Rye is actually the way that he is and that he's a real person and that scares me that people think that it's so real and that they're like, oh, if you weren't behind that phone, like you would get your like ass like torn up, like
oh
I would
my
fine you and beat you
God.
to a pulp, like you don't deserve to have this job, go work somewhere else. And I'm like, what if I were to run into somebody in public who is like that? And
Oh
what
my
would they do to
God.
me? That like scares me a little bit.
No, I'm
So
not
that's
gonna
another
lie, that gave me a
aspect that
little
I have to think about
anxiety.
sometimes.
I mean, well, this is why I think it's good too that you are not to say you're stepping away from Rye, but this is the opportunity where people can see like you're not just the actor of Rye the Guy. Yes, it's very important, but getting to know who Connor is and what Connors are all about. You know, I feel like it's good for people because, you know, not many people, you know, can process and think like, hey, there might be some danger to this because people actually thinks that this is real and it's not.
Yeah. It's a little
So,
scary sometimes thinking about that. And also it just blows my mind because I'm like, these people really think this is real. I'm like, last time I checked, if you pay attention, that says your bank, the uniform says your bank, lost its sticky notes, fake cigarettes, like medication bottles on the set, and
oh,
just
I need a cigarette
who
so bad.
can really get away with doing what Ride does? And you really think that that is real? Like, that gives me, I don't know. It kind of scares me that those people in society are like that in society. And I'm like,
Yeah.
use your brain a little bit, please.
Yeah, and like probably very judgmental. There's a lot of people in this world who just don't get it and are not open to it. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about too, and I know we had this conversation too about the whole your bank and how it used to be like Fells. What
Yeah.
do you want to kind of tell people the story behind that and how you ended up having your bank now? Because I know you said there was
Yes.
like a legal issue with copyrights, and then somebody actually like thought you were real again.
Yeah. So, um, like you know, whenever I first started, actually was parodying real companies. So like I was doing like Wells Fargo, Starbucks, Spirit Airlines, like all this stuff. So then like whenever I wanted to start taking it serious, I was like, okay, I need to think of the branding and also legalities. So I like changed all the logos to stick with just a few, but the main one was Fells Wargo. But then
Hmm.
over some time, like I ended up like branching out and making it like higher quality, building the set, and
How
over
long did
time,
that
more
take
people
you, by
started
the
watching
way?
them, and I was like, okay, I don't want to get sued. This is a little too difficult because the day that I was like, I need to change it from Fells Wargo to First Bank was when I had a briefcase on and it was covering up the front half of the logo. So it literally looked like Wells Fargo. So
Oh
I was
shit.
like, oh, if something like that were to happen, or like I'm covering like this half of the logo, like it looks like Wells Fargo, and that could become a problem. And also, it just sounds too similar. So I then changed it to First Bank, and that was like the first like idea and name that I can come up with, the First Bank name. So I ran with that for like, I kid you not, 3 months. It didn't even last that long because a
Damn.
video that I posted was a realistic looking video of Rye arguing with a customer. And people really thought that it was real. And they were reaching out to a bank called First Bank with a
Oh
very
shit.
similar logo, but just different font. And they were complaining about a disgruntled employee arguing with customers, dozens of phone calls. So the director of PR sent me a LinkedIn message, and was like, "Hey, like I love your series. I've been watching it for a long time, but I noticed you recently changed the name, and we're getting complaints that a disgruntled employee named Rye is arguing with our customers and cussing at them." And she was like, "I kindly ask if you could like rethink this and try and like change the name. I think that would be like very helpful for you." And
So you
just
actually
also
got
saving
calls
them.
from that bank. Like they were calling you up talking about like, oh my God, you like the logo was just absolutely no.
Yeah, so they gave me like a nice little, hey, do this or else, but it wasn't necessarily that deep. They were like really nice and understanding, and they got it. They appreciate the message of the videos. Um, but that's when I was like, I took a week off, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna rebrand the hell out of all of this. I took down this old sign and I put up Your Bank, designed the logos. I have several different versions of it. Made all the uniforms and the name tags and just like changed little
Holy
tiny things
shit.
like this. And like all the little props say Your Bank, papers on the wall say Your Bank. So it was a difficult process trying to like, after changing it so many times, I wanted to give up. I was like, I'm tired of this. This is too difficult. So I was like, but you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. And I looked up a bunch of legal documents and talked with a few of my peers, and a few peers who are producers out in Los Angeles. And I was like, hey, Fair Trade Use Act and first, freedom of speech and like parodies are all legal. So me doing this, as long as I'm not selling products that are pretending to be at the real bank, then
Right.
I'm fine. This is for comedic satire parody purposes. So I was like, okay, I'll stick with it. I'm safe. I don't have to worry about anything else or Wells Fargo coming for me or First Bank. So I was like, I'm safe now. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
You handled that so well.
Oh,
I would have
and
freaked
that's
out
that's
too.
whenever I changed the name instead of it being Rye from Fells Wargo, I was like, okay, I'm gonna change it and brand this as the Call Center series. So I made the logo for that. I was like, it's similar to The Office, the Call
Yes, I
Center
love that show.
series, and then you have Dunder Mifflin, and then you have Your Bank, and then you have your characters inside of that universe. So I was like, let's stick with that and then run with it. And definitely seen a return investment from that.
I love that. And see, even though you had certain struggles, like holy shit, even down to legal stuff, you wanted to give up, but you didn't. I'm telling you now, you're gonna have your own fucking show. Like at least like a year from now, we're gonna run all this back and it's gonna be like, holy shit. I'm so
Yeah,
fucking proud of you too. I was watching too on your Snapchat how many followers that you were kept going up. I don't know if that was like TikTok or the YouTube
that
or not.
that was on TikTok, and this morning I looked at it, and it went from 129 3 days ago all the way up to now 1,188,000.
That is
So I don't know what's going on, but I'm not going to question it. I'm just very thankful that people are finding the series now.
Oh my God. Well, like I sent you that other day too. I saw one of your videos pop up on this other random thing. I was like, oh my God, Connor, like that's so dope though. Things
I'm
go
very aware of
viral.
those. People send them to me all the time. Friends, family, viewers are tagging me in them.
Because they're going to be like, oh my God, this guy's funny as fuck. And then eventually
Yeah,
they're going to find your page too, you know?
what I
Does
like
it
about
feel
it is I'm like, I'm
surreal?
not pressed because I notice the algorithm on TikTok is so smart. It will, the little search bars at the bottom and then the comments, like the blue comments that take you into like a search, and also the very top search bar, all of them always say Rye customer service, the call center series, Rye from your bank, like all this
You
stuff.
had a
So that's how
fucking
they end up
GIF.
finding it. Or they end up scrolling a couple times and then they find my account because the algorithm knows that that's me.
Yeah, like I was saying, you had literally a gift. Like when you send people, and I saw that was fucking phenomenal. Now, let me ask you, like, how does it feel like when you hit that 1 million mark? Like, Was it scary? Were you anticipating it? Was it like felt surreal, or like how did you feel like as you're climbing to the top? Like,
So I remember in 2021 I hit 10,000 and I was like literally crying because I was like, I've never had these like this many followers before, and it was like motivating. And that's when I was like, I'm gonna get to 1 million. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm gonna do it. So over the past year, the call center series gained about 700,000 new followers and had 300 million impressions,
that's
like viewers.
crazy.
So I was like, it's a little overwhelming, a little scary, but also like rewarding. And makes me happy that my work is being seen and that the hard work is paying off. But whenever I hit 1 million, I like invited a bunch of friends and family over, and we had like a little 1 million follower party,
I
and that
love
was a crazy
that.
night. I'll just say that we were celebrating like crazy.
As you fucking should. Like, that's a huge accomplishment, and you're only growing more. And remember, we were kind of freaking out a little bit about the whole TikTok ban, but I mean, shit, it actually really helped you in your favor, blessing in disguise, because now your YouTube channel is like hitting too.
Yeah, moving over, not moving over. I don't like saying that. In case TikTok does go away again, the series will be fully available on YouTube. So that started driving traffic over there. So the series on YouTube has a little over 10,000 followers now, and I'm now testing out widescreen videos. So rather than just vertical, I'm doing long form, like episodic looking videos. Those just take a little bit more time, but they are fun to make because it has more of an episodic like storyline that says like
Mm-hmm.
to be continued, and it like, gives you the like anticipation to like want to keep watching it. So I'm doing a bunch of trial and error. I tried YouTube's like several years ago, but it never worked out. Like I couldn't get over 1,000 followers doing like daily vlogs, and I was like,
Divine
nobody
timing,
wants to
honey.
watch me. But now that I have found my niche, like, and have an audience that's capable of, moving over to YouTube, it's more rewarding to want to keep trying over there.
How long did it take you to really find your niche? Like figuring out what worked for you and you feeling most comfortable and confident within your character?
To find the niche, you said.
Yeah.
Um, the niche of within comedy on TikTok is a very big, what's the word? Like, there's a lot of engagement in that. So I was like trying out like just random videos and then that weren't necessarily funny. But once I finally started doing Rye videos, I was like, okay, this is comedic. I can do a lot of like sarcastic, like satire parodies. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick with the comedy niche because once you find your niche and you stick with it, that's how you build like authenticity and a brand, and people will want to keep watching you because they know what they're gonna expect.
I love that. I love that. And was there certain, I know we had some questions here too. I know some of your viewers were asking certain things.
Oh, yes.
Were they mostly asking about Rye or Connor? Or did you want to answer a few from Rye, the alter ego, and then Connor?
Yeah, we can do a nice balance.
Okay. So I got a few things here. So one of the things is like, can you walk us through a typical day on the set of the call center series?
Yes, it's very chaotic. But it's organized chaos. So I do everything by myself, um, with the help of Chat GPT sometimes to speed up the process. And so I wake up at 6 in the morning and then I get my little coffee fix and then I start working at 8. So from 8 to 9, I'm content generating. So like I'm looking at analytics to see what's been working and then like brainstorming ideas. And then from 9 to 10, I start writing the script. So like between those 2 hours, I'm capable of like getting the entire episode planned out for the day. And then from 10 to 11, I'm filming in the studio. I film the scenes right here first, and then I film over in the hallway set for the interviews, and then reset the studio back up for tomorrow and clean up, and then I have a lunch, and then after that I start editing. And editing, Lord have mercy, it lasts. That's what takes the most time. From about like 1 to 4, sometimes noon to 4, I'm editing. Like I'm in go mode, like I'm focusing because I have a deadline. I get the videos out by anywhere between 4 to 6 p.m. So like I'm doing all that editing, and sometimes my computer likes to crash. So I'm just like,
Damn.
what is happening? So it's so overstimulating, but it's very nice to see the end result of the video once it's done. It's very cool. And then posting that, looking at the analytics, engaging with people, and then I check my emails and then I check out for the day by like 5 o'clock.
Shit, you really do have a busy day. And you're the only one who's writing all the episodes, right? Like nobody else, like it's all you.
All me, unless there's another character like on camera, like when I've done episodic seasons with I've had a few friends actually be in the videos. So like I run the script by them. I'm like, what do you think? Like, is there anything that maybe we can change? Do you have any maybe? So if they help write something, I add them in as credits as co-writing. But
Oh, I
that has
love
only
it.
happened like maybe 5 times.
See, so you'll have to let me know when you're ready for some new characters.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So you did kind of talk about, okay. So I know you touched on this a little bit. And it was one of the questions from your fans was, how do you handle feedback, both positive and negative?
Okay, yeah, that one. Ooh, Lord. So one of my things is I have a hard time accepting feedback. But I know that it's good because it helps me take a step back, see something different from a different perspective, and kind of like workshop a little bit. Um, when it comes to viewer feedback, it's always nice to see everyone having like a positive reaction. Um, and it makes me like come up with like maybe new ideas. Like someone like one time gave me an idea for something that actually happened to them, and they sent me
Oh,
a direct message. So I told them, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll make this happen for you. Gave them credit for it. But when it comes to negative feedback, I have stopped looking at my review comment section because that's where all the mean comments get filtered so
haters.
that they don't get posted because I have a lot of keywords in there. So I don't have to see it, nor do my viewers have to see those types of comments. So I try not to look at them. But in the past, when I did, it was like so mean and aggressive. Like these people aren't just like attacking Rye, they're personally attacking me and like my appearance, like
Oh,
also like being a part of like the LGBTQ community. And I'm just like, you need to calm down. So I do not like that type of feedback and I try to avoid it as much as possible. And I
protect
would
your
recommend
peace.
anybody else do that as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like that would hurt some of my feelings for real, for real. Ugh, this is so sad. Um,
Hmm.
One of the other things, let's try to get some fan questions in here. So we already know about, okay, so actually you kind of said this one already about the call center with like viewers. Hold on, let me find something here. So what is something your audience might be surprised to learn about you? And
Me
can we
or the
expect
character?
anything? I would say first for Rye and then for Connor. And can the viewers, your fans, expect anything in the future?
So whenever I came up, like this is something people don't know. I don't talk about it. Um, it's just something that I did personally for myself when I was coming up with Rye's name. It was just Rye the guy. But then whenever I wanted to like brand it and like build the character, I tried coming up with like a random ass last name. So Rye's full name is Rye Hemlock, and
Oh,
hemlock is a poisonous plant. And I was like, okay, rye is, and it's literally a plant you want to stay away from. It literally is like it'll kill people. So I was like, okay, well, Rye is like feisty. You want to avoid him. He's very crazy. He's very poisonous. So I was like,
that
okay, I
alter
think that fits his
ego.
character. So that's something that people don't really know about Rye's last name. And many people don't notice that he has a last name, but it is on his little name tag.
Yeah, I definitely did
Um,
in all those years.
yeah. So for me, um, like I said, some people don't know that I'm the only one doing all of this, but I have been doing anything within the filming, production aspect and technical theater and acting since I was very young. But then when it came to acting, I started learning it in high school and started learning how to build sets, lighting, like audio and editing also in high school, figuring out that with filming. So that is something that many people don't know with my background.
So you were definitely set up for success at a young age. Did you always have like a vision that you wanted more for yourself?
Say
I
that one
guess
more
more so
time.
like I was like, like, did you always have like a certain vision for yourself? Like when you were working at Starbucks or when you were younger, did you ever have like that vision, like I was just meant for something more?
When I was younger, I really wanted to be in like Hollywood. Like I wanted to be a
Okay.
part of like a big movie production, directing, acting, writing, editing, whatever it may be. Um, But when I was working at Starbucks, I kind of lost sight of my passion, which is filmmaking, and I kind of like gave up on the series. That's why there was like a year-long gap why the series like stopped, and also COVID as well made it very difficult and time-consuming to focus on this. And then towards the end of my career at Starbucks, I like my mental health and physical health were so bad. I
Damn.
lost a lot of weight, and I resigned and put in my 2 weeks and left the company after 5 years and was like, I'm gonna focus on what makes me happy and like start back from square one with the series. So yeah.
It worked out well then, and I'm really glad that it's good that you took a year off to regain focus, but I'm so happy that you kept pushing even when you didn't want to or other things were going on. Like I love the ambition. So I'm going to pick a couple more questions too, and then I really want to kind of dive into a couple other things real quick before we are out of time. So I'm trying to get some more of the fans because I know they had some questions specifically for you.
So many.
Oh, also, one thing I wanted to talk to you about too. Your partner Alex, has he always been very like supportive of your career, or like do you guys kind of was it ever difficult for you?
So Alex and I have been together since December of 2000 2020, sorry. And we just recently got engaged. So he has been like
Congratulations.
a very big supporter. He's seen it all from whenever I first started doing these videos. He's also helped me like with ideas. He always pushes me. There was a point in time where I really wanted to give up on the series, and I told him I'm like, I'm not seeing like the return on my my time and investment. Like I'm not capable of like making a full-time living off of this. Like it was a very dark time, and he was one of the people that like really kept me going and was like, you don't need to give up on this. Like you're gonna look back and thank yourself for not giving up. So he's been like a major, big supporter of me. And I do the same for him because he has a hard time, like sometimes, like with his job, um, like dealing with like some BS. So I'll like keep motivating him. And he also does real estate on the side. So like I
Oh,
try and
nice.
like keep him, positive with that as real estate can be difficult sometimes as well.
I love that. I feel like it's such, you have to have a good support system. You have to have a good partner, especially like you're definitely, like I said, I can see you just moving on up. Would you like the possibility of having like a television show? Would you be prepared and ready for that?
Yes, that would be very fun. If even if it's on Tubi, I don't care. I know everyone wants to watch a full-blown production of this with other characters, and just really like people binge watch this. I see
Oh,
comments of like,
yeah.
I just spent 2 hours binging your videos and I love it.
No,
Follow.
literally, that was me
So
just going through every fucking video, and I was just like, I
yeah,
loved
I'm like,
it.
I try and build them so that people are capable of like, it feels like you're watching a TV show because seeing this developing over time, like I can like very well see this turn into a series within the next like 1 to 2 years. It's
Oh,
just
honey, it's
who's
already in
gonna
the bag. I
invest in it,
promise you
who's gonna
that.
start working on it with me, who do we have to pitch this to? I'll work on any production, whether I be in it or someone else plays Rye. Like I could be writing, filming, directing, editing. I don't care. All of it. I could do both. I would love it.
Ah, I'm like getting more like TLC. You also got to send me the link for that. I fucking need that too.
What this?
Yes.
Yes, this is one of my most favorite this on TikTok shop and she makes these and I've sold so many of them and she's made so much money and I've been making commission and I'm like so happy
As
that
you
people are
should.
finding this cup in her business because it is hilarious. She has so many other ones. I also have this other one right here. It's Lamotrigine. She made that one custom for me on the milligrams because that's the exact milligram dosage that I take of lamotrigine. And she's like, she sent me a card. I have it on the set. It says, "Thank you so much for taking a chance on my small business, Autumn."
Oh, and then you're
So
giving back
I'll
to the
send you the link
community
for
as
this.
well
Don't
and
worry.
putting people on. I love that.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said I love the fact too, like you were saying, different small businesses and you being able to help other people too and give back to the community. Like that's amazeballs.
Yes. I love supporting small businesses, and taking on brand deals of bigger companies as well because
Do you have any merch in the works or anything for Rye?
I'm actually wearing the call center series
Oh shit,
t-shirt,
okay.
but I've been having a hard time finding a distributor for
Okay.
merchandise. And anytime I find one, they are too expensive. I'm not about to charge someone $30 for a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find some other ones, and I've been looking at like Amazon, Merch on Demand. I've been looking at Print on Demand, it's just the company name, and Shopify, I think is, yeah. So I'm trying to get that situated because everyone's
Okay.
asking for merch, and I want to give out merch. I want there to be Your Bank polos,
Yes.
some of his lines
Fucking
on his
Halloween
shirts.
costumes like you had. You could like do a whole big ass thing with that.
Yeah, I lost it on a t-shirt or something, lost it,
Yes.
sticky notes. I don't know. There's a
All
lot
right,
of
I'm gonna see
different
what I can
possibilities.
do. We're gonna make that shit happen some way somehow because I would personally love to support that too.
Yeah.
Before we go, was there anything that you wanted to talk about specifically or a certain to leave the guests or your fans or the viewers or whatever? Just leave them with a little something that really helped you getting through and making this all possible.
Yes. Let me look up one question really quickly from that
Mm-hmm.
list because there was one that I was looking at that I was like, this is a really good question, but there's so many. Let me find it real quick.
I know.
So one of the main characters, obviously, is Susan. That's Rye's coworker that he despises because she's so mean to him. She's always like ratting him out to the boss.
Oh, that
There's
was your
been beef
secret
in the
Santa
past where
gifter,
like
right?
he called Susan's husband and told him that she's been sleeping with the manager, and then she retaliated by sending an email to the entire office sharing Rye's audio recordings of his phone calls where he's arguing with customers. So there's just been like this back and forth of the two of them. Um, but then
We
there's
love the
another
drama.
character. It's Rye's other coworker who says "clock it" in the background. She does not have a name yet, but it is one of my best friends um, who did the audio recording for me. And then there's another character, Mike Oxlong. He is one of Rye's old hookups, who turns out he had a wife and was cheating on her. So over time, he kept
Scandalous.
doing that over and over again. So every single time he'd call in and try asking Rye to remove those grinder charges from his account so his wife doesn't see him. He catches
I
them
saw
every
that
single
one.
time.
Yes, I
So
saw
he has
that.
been a um, big character in the series that people love and find so funny with the storylines of that. And there's another character named Jenna Tolles. That's Rye's quality assurance manager. And then there's another Jenna Tolles that was sent in as a spy, and she's with human resources. And then there's another one called Mike Bendover, who was another spy sent in by Mike Oxlong. And then one other character's name was Eric Sean, and he was a spy sent in from corporate. So all these people from corporate are just coming for Rye, and then Rye has his boss, and his name's also Mike. But all the voices are done by me through an AI filter. Um,
Oh, that's smart.
and yeah, so there's some fan theories that Rye um, still hooks up with Mike to this day. And I'm like, that's crazy
You
to
have
think
got
about
to bring
that,
in other
even though
people for
Mike is like
that.
a
You
major
have
cheat.
to. Because that would just be absolutely like comical. Like actually getting people have auditions and everything. Be like, do you want to be Susan? Do you want to be this person, that person? That would be so fucking dope.
Yes, I want to allow the viewers to also like audition to be like a customer's voice or something or a coworker's voice. I think that'd be really cool.
That would be super dope. Well, if that's something in the works, definitely let people know how to get in contact with you, your TikTok, your Instagram, everything.
Yup. We'll
Good.
make it
We're going to put
happen.
it down here, but if you want to go ahead and shout out all your socials for people too, so that way people can follow you and everything so they can stay tuned.
Yeah, so you can find the call center series on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. The username is the call center series. Um, and you are capable of watching new episodes almost 3 to 5 times a week on all of those platforms. So you might want to go ahead and follow it and join the chaos of Rye from Your Bank and the Your Bank universe.
Yes, and we will have everything down below, so you guys be sure to stay tuned. Was there anything else that you would like to tell your viewers or anything before we go?
I will say be nice to one another, be nice to people who work in customer service. It is a very difficult job, and honestly, any industry who has a customer facing role or has to deal with like bosses who are just mean, just be nice to one another and don't take everything so seriously. So that's what I gotta say. Love
I
everybody.
love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show, and I'm sure we will see you very soon.
Yes, thank you for having me. I loved it.
Yes, thank you so much, baby. Well, everybody, be sure to tune in and follow him on all of his socials. Again, this is Connor Dunwoodie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.